So, this is an oral history interview for the After Malcolm Project, Historical Archive Project. The date is February 9th, 2014. We are in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Atlanta Masjid of Al-Islam. The interview is being conducted by Mansur Bilal, Mark King, and Amir Muhammad. And the interviewee is, if you would please...
Brother Jessie Ahmed, formerly Jesse Lee Goins, Jr.
Thank you.
All right.
And what year were you born?
1948.
In what month? What day?
August the 6th.
And where were you born?
San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, Texas. Can you tell us a little bit about the early years there, family?
San Antonio, Texas. Born and raised. I was raised in a children's home.
Okay.
Went there when we was 3. My brother was 2. Stayed there for 13 years. During that point, we went to elementary school at Booker T. Washington. We went to junior high school at Frederick Douglass and went to high school at Booker T. Washington, which I didn't finish high school at the time. Was going through some trying times. But anyway, my family was very, very, what's the point? I don't know the word, I can't think. I used to think of words real simple, but they were fragmented, that's the better word. And it's like I had family members that lived down the street from the children's home. My mother never came to see me. My father never came to see me and my brother. But, you know, we grew up, and it was a trying time. And not knowing what was happening, my father got custody of me and my brother during a divorce between my mother and my father. And that didn't last long because they took us from him and put us in this children's home. So going through that and having all these experiences, not understanding what was happening, because it's children, man. So I guess this for me, after we got out of children's home, came to our father. My father remarried, so I had my stepmother and my father. I went in Job Corps. I was 15 and a half or 16. He was 14, 13, something like that. But anyway, come out of there, went to Job Corps in Lewiston, California for about 6 months. Got in a fight up there and got kicked out. But really came home, got a job, working for this restaurant, El Tropicana Hotel, washing dishes, going back to school and all this, and it just didn't, just went back in Job Corps again. Studied auto mechanics. The first time I went to Job Corps, I was studying commercial cooking. Never really got that off the ground. But anyway, in doing that, I got drafted.
Which one?
Going to the Army. This was 1968.
68. Okay. So this is Vietnam.
Vietnam. So fortunately, they told me they didn't want me to go in the Army. And so they told me to go down and talk to another recruiter. I wanted to go in the Air Force, but the recruiter wasn't there today, so I went in the Navy. Going in the Navy was an experience, because when I left there, I wasn't really used to cold weather.
Before you go too deep into the Navy, can I take you back a little bit and just ask what was the racial climate like when you were growing up? Was it something you were cognizant of? Was it
no, I mean, you know, you are to some degree, because you understand there's a problem with Europeans. And you didn't necessarily understand what that meant or what that is. We're young, you know, we're teenagers. The thing is that when you go in the military, you got to do what these folks say. And that was ugly. It was ugly. I mean, when I went, I was 18 and a half, 19 years old. And you had to deal with some stuff, man. You had to deal with some stuff. But anyway, I was going to say about Chicago. That's where I went. We went to Waukegan, Illinois, Camp Moffett. And they had us out there marching in that cold weather, boy. Gave us a new pea coat, took all our civvies and everything, and gave us these military clothes. That was a serious experience, because during the time it was winter, it was in March the 12th of 1968. And I'm trying to make all these adjustments. See, I don't know nothing about the outside world other than what I saw on television. So I got to come in and deal with people. I don't know, they're strangers. I'm away from home, and then what I left at home really wasn't that to make me want to go back home. So I was glad to be gone, but I was glad not to be gone. You know, because I was somewhat confused. I didn't know. And took time, but okay, we got there and they got to do all this training. Kind of found out I was sick when I got there, so they put me in the hospital for about a week or 2 weeks, got me straight, and then put me in a company. I was in company first. My first company was 126, I think, but I can't remember. But I know I graduated out of 155. You have to do 10 weeks of basic training. Then once you do that, and during that period of time, I found out where I was going. I went to Rota, Spain for, it was supposed to have been for 2 years, but I was only there 8.5 months. I couldn't adjust to military life. I couldn't adjust, so they gave me a general discharge on the honorable condition because I couldn't adjust to military life, and I was dealing with a lot of racism. Fortunately, I didn't have to go in the war zone. That's a big thing. Most of us as African Americans went in that war zone. And it shattered. Matter of fact, before I left home, brothers had went before me, came back, loss of limbs, this, that, and the other, or psychologically just messed up because of that war. And I was aware of that, but when I got drafted, I didn't know what to expect because most of us was going to Fort Benning, Georgia, or Fort, I can't remember, but it was 6 weeks of training and you're on the front line in Vietnam, fighting for your life. And it's like, it was a serious experience because you're trying to, I was under what they call a chief MAA, which is he was the first class boatswain mate. And boatswain mates are ones who on PT boats. And this man,
physical training? No,
PT boats. Well, you know, the ones who ride, you see, they might see in a movie where you see him riding the boats with gunner. He was a gunnerman.
Okay.
A gunny. And he was a lifer. This man was 22 years in the military. He was an alcoholic, and he was a racist cracker, excuse the expression. And his thing is that you got to do what he tell him to do. And he was right, but it was hard to do. I was in the barracks by myself. It was another brother on the second floor, but he ain't had no heart. So yeah, I was down there by myself. But for the most part, the military was not a good experience for me. It wasn't a good experience at all because I was constantly trying to make sense of things, plus have to deal with people who didn't really care anything about me, but they wanted me to do what they told me. And they might tell you to do some crazy stuff, right? And see, I would refuse.
Can you give any example of something crazy someone might tell you?
They might have you blindfolded and tie something to your nuts, excuse the expression, and it would be tied to a bucket of grain of sand or gravel or something and tell you to drop it. But the thing is this, it ain't connected to you, but you don't know that. Drop it.
So psychological.
Exactly. Drop it. Okay? I went to break 8 times in 2 months.
For refusing to follow?
No. For being late. I was late a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes. I got rolled up. They call them, go to captain's mast. Then they give you time, forfeit of pay and all this stuff. I really hadn't done anything. But the point was, they were working on me to just cow down. See, I'm young, man. Hell, I don't know nothing. So I speak up, talk stuff, get mad, ready to fight. I didn't know because I'm trying to survive in an environment I don't understand, and I know that these people don't really care nothing about me. But I got to do what they tell me to do because I ain't got no rank. I'm an E2 or E1 or whatever I am. So everybody over that can just say whatever they want to me, and I got to do it. So I couldn't adjust to that. it was a problem. So every time I went to talk to the captain, and they would have a captain's mask, and I would tell him, I said, man, look, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't understand a lot of things. I say, but every time I do something, I'm rolled up about something don't make no sense. I did understand that, but I couldn't do nothing about it because I had no rank. And then I'm an African American, and this is 1968. All right? So I knew I was fortunate because I didn't go in the war zone, but my war zone was dealing with Europeans in the military who didn't have their humanity intact to me because the way they dealt with me. And I wasn't the only one, I'm sure. But for the most part, Allah brought me through that. He brought me through that.
So you got
it was
out. You said you got out.
Well, I got out in April of '69 because I couldn't adjust to that.
And what did you do after?
I went to New York,
Okay.
out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I got out in Philadelphia and went to New York. And
What made you decide New York?
because that's all we saw on television in Texas. So you want to see for yourself. So I go and get up there, and it was amazing to me. The things that I saw scared me because I met a young lady. She was about my age. I was 20 or 21. 20 or 21. When turning 21. And she was on the street. She had been a prostitute on the street for 2 or 3 years, and she was on cocaine and this and that and the other. She had 3 children. She didn't have no pimp. She just told me all this stuff, right? And I seen this stuff, and I didn't know how to react to it.
You had never seen anything like
I
it?
had never seen anything like it before, right? And I'm trying to, I said, well, what am I going to do? And show you how much I hated the Navy. I left everything. Peacoat, and I needed that stuff, and I didn't know I was going to need it. Because I got up there, and it was cold. And I didn't just gave up everything. They gave me a little stipend of $200 or $300, I think I had in my pocket. But it just didn't work out like that. So while I was there, I learned a lot of reality checks. I had to check myself and see. And the more I thought about it, I learned a few things, met a few people, and started going places, and they told me where I could get work and do this and do that. So I got a job working at Child's Pancake House, 48th and 2nd Avenue, and down from Port Authority. I worked there washing dishes for about a year, I think, 6 months, 8 months, a year. And it was all right. But I was on the street still. I was on the street. So I'd sleep here, sleep there. So I met a friend of mine that worked in a hotel, a motel. Well, it was a hotel. And he gave me a room. So when I got paid, I would pay him what I could pay him. But he let me stay there for the longest. I mean, y'all have no idea what I'd have been through. I used to go to Central Park and wake up with snow on my back in the morning. When the morning the snow was on, I wake up. Yep, I done been through that. I used to go to the Skin Flicks. You know what a Skin Flick is?
Tell us.
They're movies, naked movies, whatever you want to call them. And I would go in and go to sleep. And if you had any money, you had anything, you had to learn how to hide what you had. Because I woke up and come up, my whole backside was cut out. They didn't took the little money that I had and all this stuff. That's because they specialize in that. People were surviving in an environment to where if they weren't literally robbing you, I know people who were catwalkers, wait till people go home at night and they go in their apartments and take what they take. This is real life. And these people live in high rises 100 stories high. And them boys would go up there and come all the way down for as long as they could and to get whatever they can get and then leave.
So this is, you moved to New York in 1969.
I stayed there 2.5 years.
Malcolm had been killed in 65. Martin had been killed in 68.
Right. I was in the Navy in training
Yes.
in Chicago, in Waukegan, Illinois, when he was killed.
And so when you got to New York, you didn't run into, there was no...
I didn't meet any Muslims. I used to, look, I had no car. I would walk from downtown New York, 42nd and 8th Avenue, to 116th Street, to 151st Street, Columbia University. You familiar with that? I used to walk that all the time. Then I would walk from that point and go down to the Bowery in Washington Park. I walked all over New York. Everywhere I went, I walked. And I learned a lot of things. I met a lot of people. But I would tell people, it's a good place to learn, but it ain't no place to live. At that minute, I don't know how many millions of people were there at the time, but the thing was is that I have been coming down the street and I have seen a body laying. All they do is try a rope around it and leave it there. Leave it there for 24 hours. Put fear in the people. I happened to be downtown one day when, I don't know if he was a robber, what he did, whatever this man had done, they caught him it was a shootout downtown New York, and this person got caught in a cab. And them policemen caught that man. They surrounded that cab. They must have shot 1,000 bullets in that car. But they sure killed him. They killed that man. I was standing there. I watched this with my own eye. Now, I'm a young man. I don't know nothing. Two things in New York that I learned. The mafia ran most of everything. The restaurant that I worked for, mafia owned it. This, they come to find out, mafia owned that. If the mafia didn't own it, the Jews owned it. And African Americans, we doing what we doing. Everybody running drugs or running numbers. That's our lifestyle. And people were out of work. I mean, it took me a long time to understand, but I kept trying, kept working on myself, and trying to understand what was happening. I had a proposal to do. This Caucasian saw me one night. I forgot how he met the man, but he wanted to teach me how to drive them trucks. Man, shit, I don't know you. I don't know what you up to, buddy. So I didn't take it. So on my lead, I got in a fight with a person in the restaurant that I worked. This girl liked me, and the manager liked him. So this man's about 6'4", about 250s, 260s, whatever. Mr. Williams. He tried to hit me with a leaded nightstick. I blocked it with my arm. He broke my arm. Right? 2 places. I think that was the only reason I could leave New York. Because New York has such a pull on you that you wouldn't believe. See, the thing is that you don't know. I don't know. What am I doing? I'm trying to make sense of things and everybody crazy. Because people trying to use you. Look, I was working.
Let me interrupt a little bit. Did you meet any Muslims in New York?
No.
You didn't meet them? Do you remember?
If I did meet a Muslim, I didn't know it.
Had you met any Muslims prior to?
I was stationed in Spain, brother. You know the history of Spain?
I do.
I was stationed in Spain.
But did you meet Muslims?
I was stationed. I might have. I didn't know.
Okay. If you met some.
But the third largest masjid in the world at that time was in Cadiz.
Did you learn that while you were there?
Yes. Yes. I learned that while I was there. So it was a. I don't know if I got a chance to go there, but I knew about Gibraltar because that's where I was stationed. I knew about Tangiers. I wasn't far from it because I was right in the area, southern tip of Spain. Okay.
Did you know anything about your people's connection to
No.
that Islamic?
No. I didn't know nothing.
So, how old were you, and where were you, the first time you remember meeting a Muslim?
I was in Denver, Colorado. I just moved there in 1970 or 71. I became Muslim in 71.
So that was right after New York. You had a couple of stops.
Yeah. I came here, came to New York. But the thing is this: I was in community college, and the Nation of Islam brothers used to come through with the paper. I never read the paper, but I always looked at the picture. So I was sitting talking to a Caucasian girl, and we was talking, and the brother came through, he gave me the paper. And she asked me, she said, well, what are you going to do? I told her, like I said, I don't know. I had no idea. See, what I've learned since then to now is that then, not having knowledge of self, not knowing, having a relationship with Allah, not knowing anything about anything really, just having general knowledge and, you know, living out here in this environment, he didn't know, man. And I didn't know what to do. So when she asked me that question, I told her, I don't have no idea. But I did wanted a PhD in mathematics. I was real good at math, right? So I was trying.
How old were you when you first knew you wanted a PhD in mathematics?
I was about 20. Matter of fact, I went to Metro State College. I started there. And I changed my major from that to marketing, and I wanted to take up public relations. I like people too. But anyway, I was just kind of throwing things around trying to find it. I wanted to get in that math, but I realized, because I sit in a math class, a class in college, I didn't understand nothing they were talking about, right? And it just kind of convinced me, look, you ain't ready for this here. That's what I said to myself. But the thing is this, going back to the Muslims, see, I looked at the pictures, and it just didn't click. It didn't click. And they would come, if not every day, every other day, come through selling the papers. And I didn't really, it just didn't hit me.
They didn't talk to you then? They just...
No, give you the paper. They did, but they didn't. In other words, they give you the paper, and if you say something, they'll talk to you. Okay. If you don't say nothing, they don't bother you. Okay. If you don't give them nothing, they keep moving. So the thing was, for me, how I got introduced to it was I went to a friend of mine's house to get high. And he was talking about it. They were talking about it. They had went a couple of days before, which that was a Monday night, I guess. And then this Wednesday night, we were supposed to go at 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. So I said, okay, I'll come too. That particular night, a day, was on November the 21st, 1971. I can't forget it because I didn't know that I would go, and I didn't know I was going to stay. Because I kept coming back. I kept coming back. So I went in. I remember the first day I went in, and when I went in, I had never seen anything like it, so I really didn't know how to react. He said, raise your hands. Yes, sir. Do this. Yes, sir. Right? So they checked me. So, okay. He said, now come on downstairs. The person that checked me was the person on the rostrum. So that show threw me for a loop. I said, what's this? You know, and he was a captain. He was, I forgot his name, but he was a captain, Zaki. And he was talking, then the minister came. And I said, yeah, well, I'm gonna have to come back. And I didn't know why I was coming back. See, at the time, all that was happening, I was still looking for something, and I didn't know what I was looking for. And I knew that there was a God. Like, for instance, when I was in New York, not in the military, I went to the church on a Christmas day, and I sit in the back, and I'm listening, and none of it makes sense to me. I didn't know how to relate to it, you know. So I said, well, let me come on out of here. So I left. And I had been struggling, trying to find something, and I didn't know it was Allah. I had no idea. Okay. And so I said, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I kept on moving. So when I got to Denver, what's happening is that I didn't realize that I heard about Denver on the streets. And I knew that's where I was supposed to go. And I didn't know why. So I'll show you how law works. I met a young man from Philadelphia. He's about to go up and start a farm. I'll show you how dead I was. Now I was dead. Mentally dead. We going up to start a 1,000-acre hog farm. Now this is how dead we is. So we get up there, nice piece of property, a lot of land, right? But I didn't know what I was doing. I just went up there with him. Say, I'll help you. So he left me there by myself. No money, no food, nothing. Right? So.
This was before Denver.
This before Denver. Because this is how I'm going to show you how we got to Denver. I got up there, and winter was coming. And he hadn't come back yet. I ain't got no money, and I ain't got no food. Show you how dumb I was. I got some iced potatoes. I was hungry, right? I'm going to do the potatoes. I put them in a bunch of water. The thing got super slurping. I just poured it out, man. I didn't know what I was doing. But I did some crazy stuff, boy. But anyway, I started walking from the farm to Watertown, New York. It was about 25 miles away. I walked all the way until I got to the entrance of the city, and a Caucasian picked me up and took me in. So when he took me in, I was walking where he dropped me off. I'm walking and standing there. And this young man pulls up in a red 65 Mustang. Two-door, right? But it wasn't no four-door Mustang. But anyway, he talking. We got to talking and stuff. He said he was going to Denver. I said, you going to Colorado? He said, man, that's where I told him. I said, that's where I need to go. Now, he don't know me and I don't know him. This man took me all the way from Watertown, New York to Denver, Colorado. That's a lot, see. That's a lot. Show you that the trip was like this. I wasn't aware of the Ku Klux Klan. We stopped because he was running out of money. We stopped in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And he went in to get something, the money wired to him. And so it was a restaurant too. So, and then I had to go to the restroom, so I went to the restaurant. He said, what you doing in here? He said, do you know where you at? No, I didn't know where I was at. Come to find out, he said, do you know anything about Ku Klux Klan? And them suckers were looking at me. And I just show you how ignorant I was. Man, I ain't paying them people no attention. I said, where's the restroom? That's where I got to go. So he said, where's the restroom? He said, can he use the restroom? They said, let him go on back there and use the restroom. I went to use the restroom, come on. He said, now get the hell out of here. Because he knew. See, people. And then after I got back in the car and thought about it, and then it hit me. I said, man, let me get the hell out of here. But I can't drive. So he wasn't going to let me drive the car, right? I couldn't drive the car a half a mile before I went off the road. That's how pitiful I was. So he drove all the way to Colorado. Come to find out, his parents lived up in the mountains, had nice property and business. They had a saloon and a restaurant, right? So he had told them that I was coming. So when we got there and I hit the door, and his mother said, don't nobody say a damn thing. African American, all of them white folk in the mountains, Appalachians, right? Some of the best people I could have met in my own life. They treat me better than my own family. These people are so good to me, man. I had to finally leave. And tell them, so look, I need to go down because something yearning in me and I had to move. So what I did was, I left and I never went back. I didn't even try to go back and see them. To this day, I wish I had, because I know I've been gone 35 years. So I don't even know if it is living, if the son is still alive or what. I wouldn't even know where to go. But anyway, these people treated me so well, I was like their own son.
This is the mountains in Denver.
That's right.
Outside of Denver.
Yes, sir. Up in the mountains. Very good people. So when I heard something about white folk being the devil, I could identify with that, right? But I also know another side, right? And I'm an orphan boy now. My parents didn't raise me. So I got a double perspective of things, but I knew both sides. So, and I still didn't understand yet. So I'm in Denver for about a year before I become a Muslim. Really accepted where it's supposed to be accepted. And I used to walk all over Denver. And I went to a neighborhood. These Caucasians used to leave their houses open. And a lady stopped me one day and said, young man, I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I noticed you come through here quite a bit. She said, where do you live at? And I told her. She said, now, in this neighborhood, we see you, but we don't think you're a bad boy. And she said, come on in here. She set me down, gave me some lemonade, a sandwich, or whatever she gave me. And she talked to me. She was filling me out, right? And you know what she did? She said, listen, whenever you're in the neighborhood, if you're hungry, you want some water or something, you need tired, you need to sleep, go in there and lay down on the couch, the door's open. That's what she said to me. Come to find out, the whole street was like that. They never bothered me. I never knew her name, but the woman treated me very well. This is in Denver.
Not a lot of chocolate people in Denver.
Let me tell you what I'm talking about. This is in Denver, Colorado, in the 70s. Early 70s, early 60s. Late 60s. And the thing was, what's surprising, every time, see, my experience is that I found out that people are just people. And if you go according to what you've been taught and all these all-minded stuff, you will push yourself away from a lot of good people if you identify color. Man, still handled it well, Friday Chuma. He handled it very well. But anyway, the thing is that I became a Muslim in Denver. I went to that temple and kept coming. I've been coming ever since. And the thing was what really helped me, because I didn't have no relationship with Allah. I didn't know nothing about Allah.
Okay. Were there any other Muslims in Denver that interacted with the nation community?
Yes. Yes.
Or not interacting intentionally?
Well, the point is this. You're Nation of Islam, and you're not Islam proper. The Quran, Sunnah, Prophet Muhammad. You're not doing that. Like Muhammad's your leader. And he's a messenger of Allah. Okay? So the thing is that that's what we were learning then. And I'm sure there were other Muslims, because, you know, you hear about them, but you might even have some to visit. I don't mean I understood what was happening, because they came because of the orientation that we had. The doctrine we had was too different. So it would have been a lot of conflict.
So you do remember probably meeting some, you just couldn't remember anything particular about them because you didn't understand.
Didn't understand. I remember the minister asking the question. He asked us a question about when Imam Muhammad came on the scene, and he asked us about, I can't remember what it was, but he asked us a question that we could not answer. Oh, he said, what is deen? You know, we all speculated and stuff, but we don't know nothing. I don't know what deen is. What you talking about? So he explained it.
It's still in Denver when
yes.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad passed.
Right.
And how did they handle that at that time?
Well, first of all, we were all asked to come to Chicago. Okay. Because it was down 7th day when he passed. Yeah. So we on our way. So how we handled it was the fact that we went to Savior's Day. We had 2 buses, and we went to Savior's Day. And when we got there, they put us to work like they usually do, stacking all these chairs and these chairs up, and all these screens and all this stuff. But anyway, we did all that, and then Imam Muhammad came on scene. And as we were going, you know, we watching news, watching television, listening to the radio and stuff, trying to understand what was happening. And I seen the look on the mayor's face. The mayor was scared.
Daily.
Literally, daily, he was scared. He was running for mayor, election of mayor during that time. And to me, the look on his face was fear, because he got all these Muslims coming to Chicago, and the white man's the devil. And Honorable Muhammad's Thomas. And then some people said, well, Honorable Muhammad didn't die, somebody tried to kill him. Don't do that. Wrong place, wrong group of people, right? So we came like, we just wanted to see what was happening. We wanted to hear for ourselves. But the blessing was Imam Wadi Muhammad. So he came.
Had you heard anything from him prior to?
No. No. We had heard about things because the minister, our minister had went, when the imam had meetings in our region, which would be the West Coast region, because we was in Denver. Denver's Midwest. So our captain was Naeem Shaw. You know who that is. Yeah, Naeem Shaw. So we would go to the L.A. So, okay. So the imam spoke to them, had meetings with the imam, with the ministers for about, I don't know, he had 3 or 4, 5, 6 meetings. But the imam was going all over the country. Talking. Yeah, he talking to everybody, talking to people, letting them know about the changes that are going to be made, things are going to happen, do them. So the minister would come back and ask us questions, do this, trying to get us to open up and think. And man, look here, I was a dead soul. That's all I can say, I was a dead soul. But once I heard him talk, my whole effort then was, once I heard the man, was to find out, say, now how much do these white folk know about this? That's Islam, truth, right? So I'm upset. It just dawned on me and say, if he know that, then do they know that? That was my question. Always been my question, because the thing is, you can't hide what you don't know. All right, can't hide it. So as the man taught, the more I could see that they knew. Now, to what extent they knew, I didn't know, because I had to grow. I mean, I just have to study and see. When I heard about the Quran, I'm this way. I read the Quran every day. Ever since I started, I've been reading the juice of the Quran every day. If it was in English or in Arabic. Now, that's more in Arabic than English, but I read it every day. Before I left my house, I'd read a juice. And what I found was, the more you stayed in contact with it, the better I became. I was changing. When I came here in 1979, in February, matter of fact, I just had a birthday, 35 years, I nearly went crazy. For 4 or 5 months, man, I thought I was losing my mind.
You came here straight from Denver?
Yep. A midnight flight, $50 one way. $50 one way. But the thing was, is that Allah was guiding me. I didn't know. I had no idea. You know, sometimes I'm looking for direction, but I don't know what I'm looking for. Right? So, not knowing, I didn't have a relationship where I know my parents raised me and I understood spiritual life and all these other things. And I knew that there was a God and all. I didn't know nothing. Okay? So, Allah brought me through all these things. I've been through some stuff, bro. Y'all don't have no idea. But the thing is that how Allah helped and reformed me as time was passing. And I'm saying to myself, I had no idea. I had no idea. And then when you start getting the answers, you don't even realize you have the answer. Because you're looking at yourself and you're saying, Imam Muhammad told, he said, listen, miseducation is our problem. That's a broad statement, bro. And if you don't have a relationship with Allah, then you ain't got nothing. You have nothing. I don't care if you have money, wealth, and all these other family and everything. If you don't relate to Allah that way, in my understanding, then you really have nothing. You might have a little hope.
So tell me a little bit about as you come into Atlanta.
As I come into Atlanta, I'm trying, when I first get here, I move, I got a friend, I met a person in the airport when I got here. And he had a grandmother that lived down on Blake Street. Not Blake. It was, well, anyway, I can't remember the street she stayed on, but I rented a room from her. Come to find out the masjid was 1.5 miles from here. The temple was right there on Fayetteville. So I walked from there down here to the masjid. The first 3 people I saw was Pleeman, Wali Alameen. I think it was a sister in the front office, because I came in the back. And the rest is history, homie. What's up, Muslim? Because I've been working ever since I came. See, I ain't never been sitting. And see, when I was in the Nation of Islam in Denver, I was a lieutenant. I was a captain. All this crazy stuff. I was told to do certain things that I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do. I didn't even tell the people I was supposed to do it. I just kept it to myself because to me it wasn't right. And the thing, what I was realizing about what's happening, matter of fact, when I came into the Nation of Islam, the treasurer got shot 15 times messing with the money. And guess what? That boy is still living today.
15 times at once.
At once. At once. And I see, I didn't understand all that, but for some reason I knew I had to stay regardless of what was happening. I just knew I was supposed to be there. And I told the minister one day, I said, you know, Mr. Henry, I don't know what's happening, but I can't leave. He said, you didn't bring yourself. So what he told me, he said, you didn't bring yourself. I said, I don't understand. He said, one day you will. That's all he said. So they put me to work. I worked in restaurants and fish market and bakery and shit. Pay you $30 a week and take half of that. Got to pay your dues or whatever it is. Nation of Islam was good. The discipline that you learned in the Nation of Islam should have never been let go. There are certain things that we have learned in the Nation of Islam that Abdullah Muhammad taught us were good, man.
You took differently to the discipline in the nation than you did the discipline in the military.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because your own people. It's your own people for one. And really, they're not trying to hurt you. They're trying to help you. But not only that, the thing is they also using you. Okay? We push Muslim. Muhammad speaks from Denver, Colorado to Chicago and back. I don't know. I don't know how much money we made. They ain't tell us nothing. They paid for the room, water, food, this, that, and other. But, I mean, I used to push papers on the street and all that. But, okay, that's fine. What I found out is that a master salesman was never broke. You learn some skills now. If you can sell, you'll never be broke. Right? You learn that, and you learn that in this Nation of Islam.
To the captain and such was by.
Well, the thing was that, see, I just have never been an irresponsible person. I was raised in a children's home, but hell, I was taught well. I wasn't no fool now. I just didn't know how to, I was not, you know something? For a while, I used to really trust people until I realized how they were. Then I withdrew. Because people were using me to do things that they knew was wrong, but I necessarily didn't do it wrong. I didn't think about it. They do okay, I do it. But I realized, I said, this ain't right. So I find out that everybody didn't have they didn't look out for me, right? They look out for themselves. So what I did is just withdrew from all of them. I don't be bothered with them, right? So for a long time, I would not deal with people. I deal with them at a distance. I see you, how you doing, and keep moving, right? Our issue was, for me, anyway, was the fact that I was trying to find myself. But I didn't know I was trying to find myself. I had no idea. I was too busy trying to survive. I was in survival mode. I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to eat this, and I'm trying to work with them. There's always something, right? So I didn't like being by myself. And see, the key was, I thought about it, I never went back to the home because I didn't have a good relationship with my family at home. My baby brother went to reform school right after he came home out of the children's home. And he never really come out of it. I don't know what happened. I was gone. If I wasn't in Job Corps in California or in San Marcos, Texas, then I was in the military. So I left home. So I didn't know, a lot of stuff I didn't know. But come to find out, my brother, I finally found him 40 years later up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's been there about 35 years, about 40 years now. But anyway, the thing was, we got split up. And I was the oldest, and he depended on me. So if he's out there by himself, ain't no telling what's happening. Okay? Then, let's see how things work. I'm living here. And I'm married. I married Veronica. Veronica last name was, I forgot the girl's last name. I was married to her. But anyway, we got married, and I had found some relatives. Huh?
You got married. How old were you when you got married?
I married in 1980 and 81, January 2nd of 81. I was 31, 32. I had been here a year or two. But anyway, got married and was going to, wanted to go and visit my mother in Texas. So we caught a bus and went. And once we did, we got there and got a chance to see my mother. And went to see my cousin, Marie. So my uncle owned a Phillips 66 gas station. And he had 2 or 3 cars there, so he gave a car to me and told me, he said, you can drive, you got a license, show me my life. He said, go ahead and take the car and go and do what you want to do. So I went to see my mother. And I went to see my mother. And when my mother laid eyes on me, she jumped. I looked just like my father. My father was a dangerous man, bro. He beat that woman so much. And it caught me off guard. I didn't know how to react to that. And I said, man, what am I going to do now? So I said, Mama, look, now I'm not daddy. I'm your son, right? So it took us some time to adjust to that because, see, I look like him so much. And the thing is that she was glad to see me, but she was frightened. The look was there. And I'm saying to myself now, this is 30 years later. She's been gone from that man 35, 40 years now. But the way it struck her, wow. I didn't know how to react, man. I'm telling you, it got me. So what I decided to do, my auntie found out that I had a car and said, bring the car back. I said, okay, we bring the car back. But I was more concerned with my mother because my mother was up in age. So, and she didn't know how to deal with that. I said, okay. So I was trying to go around and see other relatives, and I decided to take her car, take my cousin's car back to her, because I didn't want to go through all of that. So we did. And we stayed there a couple of days, then we left and came back to Texas, back here. Went back by myself. I think that time, too, I also went up to see my sister, because I went and got a rental car. I went up to see my sister. She was staying in Tyler. My sister had 5 children. Now, she says to me when I get there, because Mama called and told I was coming, now you just can't come into my life. Now this is my sister. 5 children, divorced now. She going through what she going through. So I stayed with her a couple of days and we come back home. So I go back again. This is how things work. I go back again. This time I have my own son. So I go talk to my ex-wife. I said, look, I need to take this boy with me so he can meet his grandmother. She would not let me take him. So I said, okay. I left.
Wait, you said ex-wife, so this is the sister you married, Veronica?
Yeah.
How many years after the marriage are we talking about here?
He was about maybe 7, 8 years old when I went to go.
80s.
Yeah. So the point though is that he's old enough to understand what's happening, so he can go. She said, well, ask him. I don't want to go. I said, yeah, you don't know that. What the hell you telling me you don't want to go? He don't want to go. Okay, fine. I go ahead and go and come back. So I said, I'll wait a few years. My mother came here when I was married to Veronica and stayed with us for 2 weeks. He wasn't born yet. See, he wasn't born yet. So during that period of time, I think I brought my mother to the temple. I think I brought her. But anyway, I mean, I had some issues to deal with, man. People, see, you know something? People do not realize the importance of Islam in just bringing everything together. But, you know, when you didn't come out of all this craziness, slavery and all this other stuff, man, you just surviving, man. Just surviving, right? But Brother Jesse, then been through all kind of stuff. And I didn't have no idea that I would be where I'm at today. I could not see it. Just like I'm 65. I would have never dreamed to get to 50, to 40 or 50. Talking about getting to 60. I didn't have a bad lifestyle. I didn't have no lifestyle. Okay? I didn't have nothing. My parents did the best they could do. Because, I mean, it took me a little time to understand that. I didn't know how to do that. I said, boy. So God saved me.
I'm going to take you back to that 80s period. You moved here in 81 or so.
No, I moved here in 1979.
Oh, you got married in 81.
Yes.
Moved here in 79, you got married in 81. What was the community doing? What did you get involved
They
in?
were, well, what were they doing?
You know,
Well, we had the school, but the school had to close and start back because it was the bankhead for a while. And they decided to move the school to Atlanta. To the Atlanta part over here in Decatur.
What year did the school close?
That's a good question. 82, 83,
Okay.
something like that.
And then it reopened.
At the end of that year. It reopened in 83 or 84. Okay. But the thing is that the school, and they changed the masjid. See, the masala used to be downstairs.
Okay.
They put all the classroom and put the masala upstairs. See, I went through all that. I've been through all of that. And I was driving cab.
That's not this same building.
Same building.
That's downstairs.
Same building. Same building. Yes, sir, same building. Okay. The thing is that where the school classes of the rooms are now was where the masala was at. What they did is they built those rooms and put the masala over the rooms.
Oh, the building down the road.
Yeah.
Okay. No, this.
No, not here. Now this came later. But the thing is that they made adjustment school. See, I was working there. I worked there 5 or 6 years. Yeah, I did that. I was driving cab, and also I was cleaning the masjid, clean the school, do all the outside. I did everything in there.
So when you came in, Pleman or Pasha was the head imam?
Both. What I mean by that, Imam Bacha was the imam for about the period of time, and then there was a transition, and Pleman became the imam, because Pleman was the assistant imam on Imam Bacha.
Right.
And then after, see, I don't know the year, I can't remember the year of that, but then Imam Pleman came, the imam, then things really started happening. All kind of changes, all kind of things was happening.
Like what? Can you think of any specific changes?
Yeah, I'm sure, but I can't. Don't ask me that. I got to think about. I really have to think about it. There were changes, a lot of them, but it was just it's just something that had to happen, because you could see that when the imam had come on the scene and started doing certain things, like, okay, he sent Imam Bacha down here. Right, Imam Bacha set it up, and Imam Bacha did everything for a couple of years until people started picking up and learning it and can do it. Then he relieved him of doing that. He could do something else, and everybody started doing that. But now, for me to come here and to become the weather in the house, I don't know. I just came in, started doing stuff, But I must admit now, before I became the muezzin, I I used to call it there, and I'd be riding in the car, call it there, and out the window. I'd be hollering out the window like I lost my mind. I might be walking down the street calling it there, and it just didn't click what I was supposed to be doing. So one day I came to the masjid, and Playman, it's the same day Playman that bus blew up in his face. Same day.
Explain that.
What I'm saying is that the same day that happens, the first day I called the adhan in the masjid.
What do you mean his bus blew up in his face?
He was out there working on the bus trying to get it, because he was checking the children somewhere. He was working on it, and bus blew in it, gas blew up in his face. That's what he was in Scott. You see that burn mark on his neck? Yeah, if you pay attention to him, you can see it. And it blew up in his face, but it didn't hurt him that bad. So he came in, and Plymouth tough man. But anyway, he went through that. He came in, it was time for Salat. He told me, he said, you called it there. He pointed at me. So I called it there. And I've been calling it ever since. And the thing is that everybody's been dealing with something, but the religion has been moving, and advancing. So it's at a point for me. Now, I done did this over 30-something years, and I'm saying to myself, I had no idea. You know, when I was a little boy, these boys always try to jump on me. So the teacher told me one day, she said, they're jealous of you because you got a special job. She said to me, right? Then I had another lady to say the same thing to me. She said, young man, she said, don't worry, you'll be all right. They're jealous of you. I mean, I never understood what they were talking about, but I know now. I had no idea. And sometimes you be born for certain things that you don't know you have. Don't take being a Muslim and then the person that called it a adhan. This ain't no small job, bro. This is a big job. Big job. Calling the adhan consistently establishes community life. All you gotta do is go around the masjids, around the country, and anywhere else in the world that Muslims are. If prayer is not established, you got major problems.
In that early time, was there an effort for Muslims to live close to this?
He put it out there, asked them to move this way, to move around the masjid. Yeah, that effort's been going on for a long time. I think, please remember, you've been doing that ever since I've been here, trying to get Muslims to move in the neighborhood.
Well, I was wondering if there was a time when more lived and then people moved away and now they're coming back, or is it just...
That's also happened. That's also happened. But the effort has always been to establish businesses and families in the area. Always. That's always been. That ain't something you got to think about. But the thing is how things was happening. So people would come, and then people would go for whatever reason. And you have to understand that when you're dealing with us, it's always, money is a situation, brother, we ain't never really got straight yet. And that's the truth. And but they've been always making an effort to try to get the Muslims to move around the masjid in the area. So we did pretty good because people were living 2 to 5 miles away from the masjid, which is good. But then, for whatever reason, people might have moved out, they're dissatisfied, whatever. You know, you're going to have that. You're going to have that. But the thing is, for the most part, yes, they've been trying to get us to come and to move in the area and just participate. Work, play, and pray, right? So the thing is that Islam has grown to such a point that for us, because we've always been a fairly large community, we ain't never been that small.
The Atlanta Masjid.
The Atlanta Masjid. Ain't never really been small.
Was it comparable at all in Denver? Was it?
We had 150 believers. Okay, 150 believers, and the core people about 75. Right, but yeah, we doing pretty good up there. The thing is that change is something, because people, you don't really know where people are at until the change comes. And the thing is how they respond to it.
Wait, before you go into that, because you were telling us, folks were moving, trying to move to the masjid, near the masjid, trying to build businesses near the masjid. Was the masjid, even at that time, interacting with city government?
To some degree, not on a very large scale. We had Yashtra Sabir. We had some sisters, Sister Zaima. She was a community person. We had Sister, we had 2 or 3 people, 4 people that were always out in the community. And it was always going to whatever political things were going on or economic things were going on. Somebody was going. And then we had Muslims that were dealing with community. They had, like you have East Atlanta, something that we were part of that for a long time down there on Flat Shows near the library. They had a meeting in the library all the time. They had that. Then we had the one that Jose Williams, when he was living, we used to go to that a lot because I went with Yashri a lot. Then we had a school, what we were doing initiatives in the school. The school was right here at 2nd Avenue and Memorial. Then we had another school. We went to about 4 or 5 schools. You know, just everybody, somebody was doing something.
These are schools that people in the community were involved in.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we're doing a lot of community work. We used to go out to East Lake where all the African Americans homes were. I can't even think of all of them, but anyway, we went downtown, and we would do dawah, talk to the people out there, go there, talk dawah. We go over this part of town, and do dawah.
When I got here in '06, Muslims were routinely going out and feeding homeless people.
Still do to this day.
Was that all the way back?
Yes.
When you got here, they were.
Well, I don't remember them doing
Do you remember that?
feedings like that, but it started, like Sister said yesterday, they've been doing feedings for 16 years.
Feeding the homeless?
Yes, for 16 years. That's just one of them. Because Sister Rashida El, she does it, and I don't know how long she's been doing it. Then we had another group of Muslims that were doing it, and they did it on different days. Sometimes it'd be on the same day, but on a different street. But they did it. They did it, yes. Feeding the poor, they've been doing it a long time.
And then the last question. Do you remember when it became, for you, really clear for you that Muslims here in this community were interacting with Muslims in the other Muslim communities here?
Oh, that's been going on since I've been here.
Since you got it?
Oh, that's been going on a long time. See, the Atlanta Mosque used to be 14th Street. We used to call Atlanta Mosque, we used to call Atlanta Masjid. That's the difference. Atlanta Mosque and Atlanta Masjid. Right?
People were confused.
But the thing was this, is that the immigrants were dealing with things and we were dealing with things. And we all trying to make like for instance, Ramadan would come and we never start on time. We always have a different day. It's either the earlier day before us, okay, or we the ones supposed to be late. But alhamdulillah, like the Imam said, hell, we do 29 days together. So alhamdulillah, we can't all go one day. You know what I mean? That's how he eliminated all that, you know. So the point is he was trying to let us grow. And as we grew, we began to make better choices, you know. But the thing is that we've all been trying to communicate and do things together, the Muslims, always. It's just that people got issues. You know, they come from a different country, they come from culture. You know, we African Americans, and when they come over here, the government or whoever telling them that, you know, don't associate with these people because they this way, they that. Yeah, you know. So the thing is that as you learn, then you have to make better choices. You got to do better. And that's that for me, that's, shit, man, look, I'm a very fortunate man. Even though whatever my past was, a lot and dealt with that, it's just something that I remember. And it's what got me and made me the man I am today. And I'm grateful. And I didn't realize that I would even have an opportunity to be able to understand all that madness I went through. See, a lot. Look, as a human being and not knowing, you know, I guess I've grown to see where this world is so it doesn't have to be that way, but it's the people. It's not the world per se. It's the people that make the world the way it is. See, Islam, they know it's right. See, to fight against something that you know that's the answer to people's life, you got to be a devil, boy. You got to be a devil. I mean, it's not the fact of, because it's contrary to what Allah wants for all people. And the thing that really hurts you is the fact that you know and people don't care. They just want the wealth, the power. They want to run your life and everything. Oh, come on, man. But they don't want nobody doing it to them.
Brother Jessie.
What? I'm just getting started. Let me stop messing with you. Yeah, okay, come on.
I'm going to thank you. No, that really was the last question. The relations, just kind of want to get a sense of, and you said pretty much that was when you got here, the relationship between the different Muslim communities in Atlanta were already on.
Man, look, we've been trying to deal with each other for years and get things done, to do things together, and the change was very slow.
Because you were in the nation in Denver.
Yes.
You were following Imam W.D. Muhammad by the time you moved here. Did you ever go to the nation temples here?
Yes.
So you knew the people there and people.
Yeah, but see, the thing is why you went. Because all I had to do is stay over here. I didn't even deal with all that.
Right.
But you was curious to see what they were doing.
Right.
You know, you'd go and listen, or if they had a little something, you go and see what they're doing. And you ask questions of, well, I mean, what's the problem? See, because to me, it's like we're advancing, we're not regressing. You see, and Imam Muhammad was the light stick to show, let you know, look, we don't need this no more. See what I'm saying? We're moving forward. And see, the thing is how it affects the children.
Yeah.
See, how it affects the children. And the people were not bad people. It's just that they chose to stay where they chose to stay. They didn't want to change. They liked doing what they were doing, not understanding the importance of advancement. Because Imam Muhammad bought it, boy. He bought it. I mean, he has civilized us. If we want to be civilized, truly, we got it. We just have to really be grateful to Allah and look at see, the thing is, look at yourself. You got to look at yourself. You ain't got no choice. And if you want to do what's right, you can do it, because it's right there in front of you. It's not hidden any longer. And Shaitan, he's doing whatever he's doing. But the Imam said, one brother said that the Imam said, Shaitan work is even up. It's up, done. But his influence was so powerful and so strong on the people, and they didn't give themselves to it and not even realize it. So if you ain't got a relationship with Allah and you don't know, you can cut it off. Oh, tell the man to cut the camera off, brother. Don't do that.